Hi, this is Eric Hiltz back with another Bin 412 Wine Find focused on wines that are readily available in the Pennsylvania market and giving you a chance to sample along with me before you go out and maybe take a risk on something that you're not sure if you'd like or not. So fall's in the air here in Pittsburgh and kind of getting in the mood for some lighter red wines again. So this month I actually went with a Pinot Noir. It is the Solena 2015 Grand Cuvée from Willamette Valley in Oregon. This is selling in Pennsylvania right now for only $17.99 a bottle, which is really a steal for a good Pinot. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Willamette Valley, Oregon Pinots, I'd say they kind of straddle the line between the higher alcohol, riper fruit Pinots that you're getting out of a lot of the areas in California and some of the more elegant, mineral, earthy examples of Pinot Noir you would get out of its native home in Burgundy, France. The 2012 vintage of this wine actually scored 92 points Wine Spectator and was number 38, I believe, on their top 100 wines of 15. This is the 2015 vintage, and I gotta tell you, I didn't love the 12. I bought 4 bottles of it on score alone, which I typically don't do, at least buy 4 bottles of. And I really struggled to get through it, but in the last year, as I drank my last bottle, it had really come around and opened back up. Pinot is one of those grapes that kind of goes through some funky stages for me, and so I'm excited to jump into this 15 and see if this is drinking well out of the gate or if this might need a few more years to sit on as well. Again, another good year in Oregon. I think it was 90 points Spectator, 92 Suckling. Again, not to say you should buy on points alone, but obviously these guys are getting good ratings every year. Another good vintage and a good area in the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Now, you can't really talk about Pinot, especially in Oregon, without talking about soil types, because Pinot, as we know, has one of those unique abilities amongst more than even other grapes of really transferring that sense of place or that terroir of the soil and the earth and the weather patterns and everything that goes into making this wine, regardless of winemaking style, really can transfer that sense of place into the glass. So in the Willamette, you've got really 3 main soil types. 2 are really big. This is a Cuvée, so I'm assuming Cuvée means a blend. This is going to come from everywhere in the Willamette. But the first soil type is a jury soil, and that's a volcanic soil from ancient eruptions millions and millions of years ago. It's a very dense soil with a lot of clay and iron content. You get brighter red fruit characteristics out of these wines. You get a little bit of minerality, some higher acidity, and some softer tannins out of the jury soils. And then you've got the Willamette soils, which is a sedimentary soil from when this part of the world was an ancient seabed. And as the tectonic plates collided, again, millions of years ago and thrust up the Cascade Mountains, the seabed drained and left what is today the west coast of Oregon and Washington. You get these marine sedimentary soils that drain really well, but they don't retain a lot of water, so the vines have to dig really deep to get any nutrients. You wind up getting a denser wine out of these Willamette soils. You get more dark fruit characteristics, more cola, more coffee, black raspberry type characteristics, and some earthiness as well. And then the third is a lowest soil, as they call it, and I guess jury is mainly jury is mainly Dundee Hills, if you're familiar with Willamette. Willamette, I think, is McMinnville, Yarmouth, Carlton, and those kind of areas. I think Ribbon Ridge as well. And then there's a third soil that's a wind-blown, silty soil that's kind of somewhere in the middle of the Willamette and the jury. So be interesting to see what we have here. It's really amazing if you ever have a chance to go out to Oregon and sit down and taste with some of these winemakers. They'll go through the same winemaking style, the same oak treatment, the same everything, but you really can taste the difference in these soil types depending on where the grapes were grown in the vineyard sites. Again, Pinot has a really neat ability to do that. So here we go. The Solena husband and wife team, Laurent and Danielle Montelou, got married back in early 2000s, 2002, I think. Bought themselves an 80-acre estate. And for their wedding registry, didn't register for silverware or dishes or anything like that. They registered for vines. So really the gift that keeps on giving, right? They already had 2 households filled with all that stuff, decided to register for vines, planted their vineyard, and now we all get to reap the rewards of their marriage. So kind of a cool story there. It was aged 8 months in 22% new French oak, so fairly neutral oak treatment, which I happen to like on a Pinot. 13.9% alcohol. A little higher than the 12, but still not one of these big, high, over-the-top Pinots that you're getting in some parts of California. That doesn't do it for me. So let's give this a whirl. Pour a glass of this. You can see the color here is pretty bright ruby red and very clear. I don't know if you can pick that up, but you can see right through the wine. So very clear. crystal clear, and a bright ruby red. The nose, very floral, rose petals, and wow, this really is a mix. You get some of that bright fruit that I was talking about with the Durasills, but definitely some deeper and darker cherry cola notes. And there's a spiciness on this too that's really appealing. It's not a peppery spice though. It's like a baking spice or nutmeg or cinnamon type. You know what this reminds me of? This is crazy. If you're ever a kid and you made, I don't know, I remember making a project and I did an air freshener for your parents or something. You took an orange and you stuffed cloves in the orange peel to put in the kitchen for your mom. That's what this smells like. It's got a clove and an orange rind type spiciness to it. That's really, really neat. It smells really good. It smells like it's going to be a ripe, not a really highly tart or acidic Pinot. Let's give it a shot here. Yeah, it's not very acidic at all. Really, really good fruit on that. Again, that kind of dark cherry pie. Structured though, it's got, I mean, the tannins are kind of gripping my tongue in a good way, not in a gritty way, but it's got some structure to it. This thing's going to last for a little while. No tart or acidic edges. It's really nicely rounded. And it's just got this savory note on the end that it just makes you want to take another sip. Again, it's kind of that herbal, that cloviness, that spiciness that really lends a nice savory note to this. Definitely worth checking out. For $17.99, a great example. I know you can get this in most of the wine stores in Pennsylvania. And if you like this, then maybe start to explore some of those single vineyards so you can really kind of figure out the difference between the different soil types. If you like the elegance of this, maybe start seeking out some Burgundies. If you like the more ripe fruit characteristics of this, maybe go back to California and check out some of the coastal bottlings off Sonoma Coast, or some of the higher elevation sites to get a little bit more of that cooler climate feel. But definitely for $17.99, I think the PLCB code on this was, hold on, I wrote it down, 78905. If you want to order it, but you can find it in most stores. So guys, here's to exploring new varietals, expanding your palate, and happy drinking. Cheers.